Welcome to channel GAMEIQ. In today's video we're going to be looking at the latest instalment of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and I must say, if you're a fan of the series, I think you're going to love this game. We're going to start off today with this amazing cinematic world premiere trailer, and then we're going to have a talk about the game and look at the gameplay. As always, leave me a comment and let me know what you think of this game. And also, do you think this game is the best game released 2020? If not, which one's your favourite?
They murder and kill blindly. They scour the lands of England. Lands they will never defend, never love. The time has come to speak to them in a language they will understand.
Oh, somebody tell me.
Assassin's Creed Valhalla is an action role-playing video game developed by Ubisoft Montreal and published by Ubisoft. It is the 12th major instalment and the 22nd release in the Assassin's Creed series, and a successor to the 2018's Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Set in 873 AD, the game recounts a fictional story during the Viking invasion of Britain. The player controls Eivor, a Viking raider who becomes embroiled in the conflict between the Brotherhood of Assassins and the Templar Order. The game was released on November the 10th, 2020 for Microsoft Windows, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and Series S, and Stadia, while the PlayStation 5 version was released on November the 12th. The game received generally positive reviews from critics who praised the graphics and the storyline. Okay, let's have a look at the gameplay in depth. Assassin's Creed Valhalla is an open-world action-adventure game structured around several main story arcs and numerous optional side missions called world events. The player takes on the role of Eivor, a Viking raider, as they lead their fellow Vikings against the Anglo-Saxon kingdoms. The player has the choice of playing either as either a male or female, or letting the game alternate between the two at key moments in the story, and is able to customise Eivor's hair, war paint, clothing, armour and tattoos. The variety of weapons available to the player has been expanded to include weapons such as flails and great swords. Combat has been changed to allow dual wielding of almost any weapon, including shields, and every piece of gear that the player collects is unique. The eagle vision mechanic of the previous titles returns in the form of Odin's sight. The player's companion animal is a raven, who can be used to scout the nearby areas, much like previous avian companions had done in Assassin's Creed Origins and Odyssey, and other parts of the game world from afar before Eivor engages in combat. There is more focus on stealth aspects for both traversing the game world and in combat. The social stealth concept from earlier Assassin's Creed games returns. Eivor can hide from enemies not only in stationary environmental objects, but can pull down their hood and slip into certain crowds to use them as cover. Eivor can feign death, use their raven to distract guards, and can access a hidden blade for near instantaneous assassinations. The game's key bosses, all through specific combinations of approach, tactics and weapon selection, are able to be assassinated through a single attack, but still can be defeated through numerous other routes. Not all missions require violent ends, with some that can be resolved through diplomatic means. Player choices through conversational gameplay options will affect the characters and the political alliances with other non-player characters. The game also relies less on traditional levelling system and instead focuses more on selection of skills through skill trees, selected by the player as Eivor advances through the game. The difficulty posed by enemies is rated based on the player's collection of skills.
Equipment, probably cowering within the monastery.
The development team aimed to introduce a wider range of enemy archetypes to Valhalla than in previous titles, as they wanted the player to be continually surprised by the game even after playing for tens of hours. Narrative director Darby McDevitt said that the game has 25 unique enemy archetypes and each has a unique way of challenging the player. Enemies can also use objects in the environment to their advantage. Some enemies are also capable of adapting to the player's actions and combat, finding ways to defend themselves. Enemies can also show personality during combat. While some might be intimidated by Eivor and fight more defensively, others might be more aggressive in their approach. Conquest battles, a feature introduced in the series in Odyssey, return. They are known as assaults and see the player lead armies to attack fortresses. Raids are smaller engagements where the player leads a raiding party to attack a target and secure resources for their settlement. The player is able to build a raiding party by recruiting non-player characters. The player is able to create a Viking mercenary or Jom's Viking that can be recruited by other players to act as a non-playable character within those games. The player gains additional in-game rewards for successful missions that the Jom's Viking takes part in. Though the use of naval transport has returned, naval combat has been dialed back. Eivor's longship acts more as a means of travel when performing raids and for escaping after land combat, rather than being used in combat with other naval vessels. In addition to these, the players can engage in a variety of activities, such as hunting, fishing, brawls with other Vikings, drinking contests and flighting challenges, which Ubisoft described as Viking rap battles. So that brings us to the end of the video. Let me know what you think of this game by leaving me a comment. Until the next time, thanks for watching Channel GAMEIQ.